Okay, your boy, the man, NJ to the city with the number 2 and TO. Okay, so I think I will hopefully title this The Eagles Prioritizing Jalen Hurts as their starter part 2, but we'll see. Because that's what the first part was about, even though I think I literally went off on multiple other tangents to where it's like, how much did I really talk about Jalen in the last video? But he is still the subject of these videos, the topic of these videos. The reason why is because, once again, um, as I was trying to finish out the last video saying, if the GM and the head coach don't screw this up, don't screw this draft up, then Jalen Hurts will absolutely be set full force to compete, to succeed, and to thrive and flourish next season, and so on. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't really care what round you take a quarterback in. I really don't care for the most part, until we get into the analytics and projections of, why and where they should have gone, or why they did go where they went, and so on. I can tell you at halftime it's because of a bunch of biasness of why these guys go where they go at quarterback more specifically because, again, you can follow me on Twitter at NJ2THECITY, where I literally tweet about this almost, I ain't gonna say every day, but quite often. If you look at especially the stats over the last 2 years, if not three, but definitely last two, um, whatchamacallit, Gardner Minshew and Dwayne had threw for top two most passing yards in the country. But yet, Dwayne got drafted in the first, and Garner got drafted in the sixth. So I would love to blame that on the fact that he's playing on the West Coast at the time in Washington State, and it's after dark, and I don't know who's watching him versus who's not. But I know that's the stupidest excuse that I can name, because Justin Herbert, vice versa, just went in last year's draft to the Chargers, and then prior in previous year's drafts, Josh Rosen and Sam Darnold, who also played at Pac-12 schools, UCLA and USC, got drafted again top 10, etc. So I would love to just say that and hope that it's true, but it's not true at all. It really has more to do with, as you get some of these analysts, again, this is where some of the analysts' credibility makes sense. When you get some of these analysts like Todd McShay, I think, right? Todd McShay and two of the most credible ones, it seems to be particularly on ESPN. You get Todd McShay and Mel Kiper. Once you get those two guys, let alone one of those two guys talking about you heavily / a lot, I definitely think that supplants you in that conversation, of getting picked where you need to be picked, etc. If you were the person to ask me, you definitely need to get those guys like that talking about you a lot in order, in order for your draft stock to, to look like it's supposed to look, etc. Because it definitely seems like it mostly is a bunch of media hype where we at times how these guys go, where they go, and so on. If you don't have that media hype, and I hate to say that for any young player coming out in the future drafts, but if you don't have that media hype, you're probably not getting drafted. And if you do, you're not gonna. You don't seem to be drafted. You don't seem to be drafted. On day one, if not definitely day two as well. The only way you end up getting drafted anywhere close without a lot of media hype is if someone like David Gettleman believes in you the way he believed in Daniel Jones, which the verdict is still out on Daniel Jones because the guy supposedly throws way too many interceptions and just turns the ball over with that and fumbles. If you were the person to ask me, it's because of David Gettleman that I just don't like Daniel Jones as the player. And I ain't gonna lie, he has all the physical tools, traits, and abilities, but you can definitely see that Daniel Jones has, at least with David Gettleman, has his limitations. But it really is because of David Gettleman. I'll never, see what, like I said, it's like I can, like I say, minus Gettleman, I can give the man his props, to a certain extent. As an athlete, I can give him his props, but as an upper echelon, no, I can't do that until he goes somewhere else, gets up from under David Gettleman, or until until he's either not I mean because I was just phrasing this like 10 minutes ago, till he either gets up from under David Gettleman, like he had to either I know how to phrase it. It's just like he can stay a giant, but he just has to get from up under David Gettleman, or he has to go someplace else. Is what I'm saying. That's pretty much what it is. Either way it goes, because if he doesn't do those things, I'll never believe in this guy to ever go out there and win a Super Bowl. And it's a shame, because you can see that Daniel Jones has all the physical tools and traits to go out there and possibly win at least one Super Bowl. Get lucky and win one. You can tell he has those traits to be great, physical traits. But in terms of mental stability, mental mindset, and a few other things like that, it doesn't seem like, at least amongst David Gettleman, in terms of him being David Gettleman's guy and/or under David Gettleman's thumb in a certain way, I just don't ever see his true potential, coming to light, and so on. But again, a big point, ladies and gentlemen, because I think I'll just spend how many minutes just talking about anybody but Jalen Hurts here. But the biggest, because actually the reason why I am, because a lot of these points go back to Jalen. The fact being that Jalen Hurts has what it takes. Like I said in the last video, the man's an absolute dog, a wolf. The guy got it. He is an enigma. He is a alpha. He is, a charismatic figure. I mean, goodness gracious, I really cannot stop saying, good things about. I think most people can't. Anybody that followed the man's career knows he's legend. He's legend. He's a GOAT. And so on. Yes, I'm already gonna say he's a GOAT, particularly in Alabama history. He's a GOAT, etc. And I want people to totally understand. It's just amazing how a guy like that can get drafted in the second round and still get overlooked by people, overlooked, underrated, and more. And I'm still sitting here watching some of these so-called analysts underrate him, overlook him, and say the Eagles just need to go ahead and draft Justin Fields or Trey Lance or so on. I'm like, are you out of your mind? How do you get a guy? How in God's holy name do you get a guy with Justin Fields, cachet? Not Justin Fields, gosh darn it. Jalen Hurts' cachet, his resume. And instead of working with that, building with that, developing that, you are trying to just go ahead and say, nah, he's not good enough. He's not going to make it in long term. He's going to be a career backup. Forget you. You know nothing about sports and/or know nothing about athletes. Know nothing about what's really between the ears. You know nothing about analyzing these guys. Not to say I'm the smartest at it, because I'm not, but I know the X factor when I see it. And I know Jalen Hurts was built with that X factor. Born with that X factor, grew into it even. I mean, whatever phrase you were to use to describe Jalen Hurts' X factor, he got it. He's got it. I mean, whatever happened to learning a brother's story, let alone a sister's story, anybody's story, and being able to, dare I even say, see their X factor? Whatever happened to that? I mean, it's amazing that we want to complain all the time about these young guys not being developed, but yet we never want to give them the tools they need to be developed. Let alone, we want to cry about they're not developed, or they need time to develop, but we never want to surround them. We never want to buy into them. We never want to give them all they need to be developed. We never, particularly the real game time, real live game action, they never seem to want to do that. And I'm telling you, and like I said in the last video, I literally named like 2-3 quarterbacks that were either undrafted or drafted in the low rounds. That it's just amazing. Don't tell me that you can't. I mean, you can literally find, just like in any other position, you can find a first round caliber Hall of Fame good quarterback in any round. Any. You just have to know the guy's story, design offenses around him, develop the scheme fits, develop again, work with them. You have to work with them, and some of these guys are already ready to hit the ground running. You just have to keep fueling them and again, just keep working with them, let alone and or just let them rip and see how far they can take you. There's a reason why these teams like the Vikings and Kirk Cousins can never make it back to has not actually just hasn't made it back to the championship yet. There's a reason why, because you keep it God bless Kirk Cousins, but teams like the Vikings or teams or I think it's Zimmer, right? Whatever. I hate to even say personal names, but people keep on mistaking people like Kirk Cousins to be elite. Again, they have what it takes to win a few regular season games. Possibly even, you could even say be your regular season 16 game starter, but they don't have what it takes to elevate you in the postseason. And you keep on trusting the face of your friend. Actually, screw that. You keep trusting the future of your franchise, not the face of it, just the future. In terms of postseason success, you keep trusting it with guys who are not built for it. And that's why I don't, and God bless Matt Ryan, but that's another reason why I just don't like him or don't trust him, don't trust Stafford, don't trust a few other guys. I pray to God Stafford proves me wrong in LA. Because there's obviously a reason why McVay wanted him, and so on. But you get the point. Other than that, you keep trusting the same dudes who've proven they can't get you nowhere in the playoffs. God bless Andy Dalton. Hope he does something in Chicago. But other than that, you keep trusting the same dudes who have proven to already be past their prime or just can't get you anywhere in the postseason because they were not built for the postseason. And that's the biggest problem that we have in professional sports, let alone football, with the quarterback position. They keep trusting the same dudes to get them to the postseason who are not built for the postseason. They're built for the regular season, not the postseason. Sometimes, and I'm telling you, that is the best way to run a two quarterback set. That's the best way to run it. Pay a guy close to what he wants for the regular season, close enough to what he wants in the regular season, and get your Stone Cold Stunner out for the postseason and just bulldoze through everybody and win yourself a couple rings. Other than that, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your team's talent, you're wasting your cap space money. You're wasting everything because you don't know how to evaluate quarterbacks, let alone evaluate talent. And anybody who were to tell me that's easy for Nate to say, sitting right now, in his home, critiquing everything or doing whatever, trying to be an analyst or whatever, I can assure you this. And guys, my judge and my holy witness, I have literally looked on. This is one good thing that Twitter's for. I research Twitter quite often. And so on. And I've seen more people on Twitter get it right on the money than these so-called analysts, GMs, and coaches do. I've seen more of us, random people, I've seen more of us, random, everyday people get these picks right. In other words, I've seen more fans get it right than actual head coaches and general managers have. Over and over and over again. That should tell you something. You got the wrong people running your organization, etc. And then when you have an opportunity, then when they have opportunities to get the right people, they pass them up because they want people that are controllable, or they just want people that they can line their pockets with, or they want people that do whatever they want them to do. I don't know. Well, I don't know how to end that. Or better yet, I did just end it. Just like that. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, look at the facts, look at the research, look at the data, look at the tape. You will see close enough to what I'm talking about, if not exactly, once you look at it all and calculate it up. Because guys like Jimmy Garoppolo, he can win a Super Bowl. He just won't win multiple, I don't think. But it really has to do with a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo. It really has to do with, I'm telling you, guys like that, if they ever are going to win a Super Bowl, it has to be they have to get so lucky with a precise scheme fit, a precise offense. Other than that, I don't see them going too far in the postseason ever. But that's just me in my opinion. I got more coming soon. Your boy, the man, NJ to the city, out. God bless.